Hi, I'm William Stewart, co founder of Teleos. I'm glad you're here today as we continue our fantastic journey through the book of Revelation. This book, telling of the future of mankind to the end of the age and on and through eternity, tells us about our hope for those who have trusted in God uh, through his Son, who died and resurrected for us, and have trusted in this death and resurrection by faith alone to salvation. God qualifies us for salvation by this faith in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, dying for our sins and resurrected to new life. More details about this are on our website at teleosresearch.com. Also, it tells us about the Great Tribulation, that 7-year period of time of God's wrath and righteous judgment on the earth for man's sins and turning from him from the rapture when prior Christians are taken out of the way until Christ comes again. We are in chapter 16. We're in the second half of the tribulation. In the last set of 7 plagues, the bowls that are scheduled by God during this time, we're in actually the last plague of those 7 bowls. So today we start in verse 17 of chapter 16 in the King James. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air. So here from the bowl, the angel, and each bowl has an angel. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven. So remember, there's a temple in heaven here and also in the 1,000-year reign of Christ, which we'll discuss in chapter 20. From the throne is associated with the temple, saying, "It is done." By this, it probably means that this is the last plague. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. Verse 19, and the great city was divided in 3 parts. Now, it's a little controversial what great city this is. Babylon does not exist. It was prophesied in Isaiah 13:20 and also in Jeremiah 50 that Babylon would be desolate and no longer inhabited. So we trust God will keep that into the future. It could be spiritual Babylon, which we'll talk about in the next 2 chapters, which was emanating from the Tower of Babel, where Nimrod and his companions seduced the nations to apostasy, to build their own tower, to fight God, to be their own God, which we, of course, we still see that today. Man over God, and entice them to join an anti-God coalition. So it could be spiritual Babylon. It could be Jerusalem. And so Jerusalem, which is where God, his name will rest forever, potentially is the destruction, further destruction of Jerusalem, even more than what was described as a tenth of Jerusalem earlier in the book. We just don't know. The great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon. So either he's being repetitious here or he's adding Babylon, and the first great city was Jerusalem. Came in remembrance before God to give her the cup of the wine and the fierceness of wrath. So he's giving Babylon and what it represents and the men and women who affected that vision of being anti-God their just due. Verse 20, and every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. So this is obviously a disturbing prophecy. We're not sure how this will occur. But so much of the book of Revelation, which 100 years ago we thought, how could this occur? Like the 3 witnesses the 2 witnesses in chapter 11, their death being seen all over the world, and their resurrection, and Christ coming again being seen by every man. We now know that can occur with modern technology. Verse 21, and there fell upon man a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blaspheming God because of the plague of hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Okay, so that ends verse 16. To summarize today, we've covered the seventh bowl of the judgments, which ends the scheduled judgments of the three sets, the seals, the trumpets, the bowls. And we've seen other plagues and punishments, such as affected by the two witnesses in chapter 11 as they saw fit, the great harvest of the earth. And the next two chapters, we will discuss Babylon and its fall, otherwise the human system of the earth, before discussing finally the victory of Christ coming again. Can't wait to read about that. Okay, thank you for joining me today. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.